So as we live in our identity, as we deal with our trauma, we begin to live in our identity more. And so my encouragement to you is continue to stay rooted in the 6 practices, the 6 P's. Prayer in the morning, prayer in the evening, reading your recovery material, going to group, making a phone call, and leaning into gratitude. Those things that help us to build that foundation of strength. We're not trying to earn our identity. We already are who we are. We're already a child of God if we've turned toward God in Christ, right? And so we're already a human being, which is the top of creation, right? We're already there. And so resting in and relaxing in and knowing who we are helps us to act in our strength rather than having to work hard to earn it. And so, one reminder that you might even repeat to yourself is, hey, I am loved. I'm not my past. I'm becoming who I was meant to be. I'm going to read that one more time and just reminding yourself, maybe look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I am loved. I am not my past. I am becoming who I was meant to be. And so as you do that, speaking those words of life into yourself, oftentimes we have to replace some of the things that were spoken over us before. And that's super powerful. So let your identity be restored. You're in that process right now. And that's what we're talking about over these next few weeks. But leaning into our purpose, letting it be revealed, and having the freedom to live out of our identity and into our purpose. Today, my challenge for you is also to write out some I am statements, a sentence that declares who you are in recovery. I'm a child of God and I am loved. I live out my purpose by serving other people and helping them walk through their addiction into their purpose. I love nature and helping people to transform their lives. Like some things a little bit like that help you to see who you are and who your identity is. One little point that I wanted to throw out there is oftentimes in that space of our identity and our purpose, we are often very attacked. I'll tell you a short story. And I was really frustrated this past week with somebody because of his super loud voice. And I was with a client and we were in a very sentimental moment with the client, and this other person in the office was talking really loud, and we don't have great sound barriers. And so after the session, I went out and I was like, dude, you are so freaking loud. And I kind of was attacking him. And I was not very nice to him about it. And I thought about that later and realized, my attack of his loudness, my cursing of his loudness was an attack on his identity in many ways, because part of the gift that he brings is his strength and the loud voice that he has. And does he need to control a little bit and be mindful of other people? Yes, he does need to grow in that. But it's also important to realize that the places where people have cursed us or said bad things about us is often a deep place of our beauty and strength and goodness. So as you think about your purpose, I would ask you, where have you been cursed? Where have you been told to sit down and shut up and stop it? Where have you been? Maybe you were told, quit painting pictures. That's not ever going to amount to anything, or whatever, right? Those are areas where maybe a place of your strength and beauty has been cursed. And so I want to invite you to think about those and begin to play with that a little bit. See what's there. There may be some beauty, some strength, some goodness there that would be really powerful. So write your I am statements. Remember, your story is far from over. You are just beginning. Here's another example of a sentence of declaration that you can declare over yourself. But, I'm a man of integrity and strength and compassion. I'm called to bring healing where there is pain. Beautiful. Maybe you're called to bring color where there is black and white. I don't know what's on your heart, but those are some things to be thinking about. So I love that you're here. I love that you're making progress. I love that you're processing this information. And again, reach out. Let me know how it's going for you. What's really speaking to you? I'd love to hear from you. And make sure you're bringing this up in your therapy. Make sure you're bringing this up in your coaching. What's really coming up for you? What's really catching your attention? What's speaking to you? I look forward to seeing you next week.